fingers crossed. Oh shit. Ugh, that's terrible. We're live. Great start to it.
Live.
1 second for the Instagram. Okay.
Man, people are such jerks.
We are live now, Sarah.
I'm sorry. I'm just
I mean,
like
it's
reading
true, though.
comments on our Threads account and like jerks. You guys, there's jerks out there.
Oh man, there's so many jerks. And I mean, a lot of it is just folks that are given into despair and have decided nothing can ever be better. And I got to say, today is not a great day for democracy, for the arc of justice, right? We're in kind of a rough spot here. We just got the Voting Rights Act, just disemboweled by the Supreme Court. Pretty rough. Lot of conversation about how we can rein this in or control it, and man, the only thing that keeps coming to mind is Reconstruction, right? Is a Congress that is like, absolutely not. We are not doing this anymore. Term limits for all of you. Expand the court, and let's throw a couple extra states in there too, so that we can really make sure that that this party that's looking to disenfranchise Americans doesn't retain power. That is the name of the game here. Yeah. It's what is the quote you said to me right before this? Is this from the decision or is this from
No, that's from the article you sent me from Democracy Docket, right?
Yeah. States may now draw district lines in ways that undercut the political power of minority voters with virtually no limit. That's that. Oh, and what happened in Reconstruction after Reconstruction, after they started dismantling all of those changes, right? We got the 15th Amendment passed and everything. We went from some representation. I think it's 22 Black congressmen in 18, at the very end of the 19th century, and by 1901 there were none, because that is the goal. The goal is to restrict minority participation in electoral life. And the question for us at this intersection is, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to get it is unfathomable to me that we are moving backwards in such a dramatic and rapid fashion. And I guess nobody is going to stop it except possibly our courage candidates, because
I don't accept it. I just don't accept it. Right?
Yeah.
I don't accept that this is the path. Yeah, there's good people out there fighting for stuff, right? You've got, lawsuits here, there, and everywhere. You've got a few members of Congress who are saying the right thing, and I think they have some soul and they want to push in the right direction. But like one or two people in one or two different bodies of legislative power or industry or whatever is not enough, right?
It's not. It's enough to get impeachment done, right? We just need one person,
we just need one person. But like we've moved so far beyond that, right? Like we are now in the realm of creating an entire movement like a la the Tea Party. I mean, honestly, we have 120 active candidates. To date, I have personally spoken with over 150 people running for Congress across the country in 38 states across this country. And they're showing up in my inbox faster than I can get to them. Still, right? Still, because people understand that that's what we need. And I mean, disseminating that information to the public and telling them that it is on them to make it happen is the hard part. That's really hard.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, and we looked up, like, what did the Tea Party actually do, right? Like, what, where were they at this point in time? And the Wikipedia article talks about how in October they had 138 candidates, and the media credited them after the election with getting 40 to 60 seats in Congress. We have 138 or 120 now, and active candidates, and we had more pass through the system. Some of them didn't make it past the primaries, but
that's right.
It's not like the group of candidates that we are fielding this is a movement on the order of the Tea Party at this point in time.
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's massive, and there needs to be a spotlight, right? There needs to be a spotlight. We talk about, you see all the time in the news, all these articles about like progressives, progressivism, people in races that are pushing the person who wins, you know, towards
yeah,
progressive policies, right? That's what we're seeing time and time again. Like, even if you lose your race as a progressive, you have pushed the person who's won a little bit more left. Well, that's great. But if we do not start electing those people with those policies, and of course, we don't label. I don't give a shit about labels. I don't care what you call it. You want to call it progressive, that's fine, because that helps you understand what it is. You should just be able to read the list of policies and understand, oh, this is stuff that's going to help America. And I do not want to leave this world to my kids in the situation that it's in right now, because that's not fair to them that we went and fucked it all up and let all this crap happen, right? So, media attention. I mean, that's the only thing. Like, we should just be, it's just you and me out here yapping, Kara, right? We need spotlight. We need
but
a
we
spotlight.
are funny and we're clever, and somebody's gonna pay
I
attention
mean,
at
we
some
think
point.
so, but
But
hey.
I gotta say, like the last 24 hours have been just like a real fertile ground for op-eds here, right? We have got
Oh,
the
yeah.
King of England rolling into Congress, like two dying empires talking at each other about how it's going to be fine in 250 years. Like
Right.
this is craziness in the moment when we have an administration actively undermining democracy, to have the king of the country that we violently separated ourselves from
Sure.
joking about how that little disagreement is in the past now. Like,
Yeah, the
it's
irony
just
is
crazy.
wild.
And
Yeah.
then we have Ken Martin, the DNC
Oh, my
chair,
God.
going on to Pod Save America. And I don't really watch Pod Save America, but the gentleman
Mm-hmm.
that was speaking had very reasonable questions, like why did you pay $6.5 million to buy Kamala Harris's fundraising list? And
Mm-hmm.
why did you say that you were going to release this report and then not? And like real straightforward questions.
Oh, yeah.
And all this guy could do for 30 straight minutes was say, Pod Save America guy, you're spewing garbage. We've been sharing all the lessons learned, and we need to focus on the
I know,
future.
I know. I love it. I love it when they're like, you said you were going to release this. In fact, even before you did the report, right? What was it in 2018? You said if when you become, a part of this whole thing, you will release it. And then you didn't release it. Well, no, we released the lessons. I was like, what the hell does that mean? You released the lesson? So you got to release the data to people to understand why you came to the conclusion of those lessons. That's the
Sure.
information the American people want. And the only thing these idiots want to talk about is affordability with zero plan of how to get there. Sure, yes, we need affordability. Oh my God, prices are incredible. My 18-year-old texted me from the gas pump yesterday and said, not gonna lie, bro, 450 is crazy for a gallon of gas. My 18-year-old knows that the prices are insane, right? Like, while he swipes my credit card to pay for the gas, of course, right? But like, they don't have a plan. There's no plan. And they can only focus on one thing at a time, right?
Well, I
Like,
can't I
Jeffries,
can't
we're not going to
stress
talk
enough.
about impeachment because we got to talk about affordability. It's like we said last time, like
Okay.
I got like 50 lists going on in my mind,
Yeah, and we just have to juggle between them all the time, right? And this, I mean, it was really telling to be. I was actually on the Hill yesterday when the king came in to speak, and I saw more representatives and senators like physically present, like human beings with the little pins on and everything, than I had seen for basically like the entire month before that,
because they
right?
want to come out for that power.
And
They
they want
love
to go
it.
ahead and clap for the king, man.
They
There was
want
a
to get
lot of
roll their
one
shoulders
thing,
on in there. Uh-huh.
one thing that the king said, right, was he made sure to say, like, y'all set up a system of government with checks and balances. And,
Yep.
everybody clapped for that. Everybody, did the clapping. So clearly they like the idea of it. It would be super cool if they went ahead and actually pursued it as the co-equal branch of government that can provide those checks and balances. But when you have, I mean, it was mind-blowing watching Ken Martin just repeat his talking points over and over again for 30 straight minutes, because there is no way there's no way I would ever work with that person or that organization after watching that.
Heck
That was
no.
just a disrespectful, like, complete abdication of responsibility. Man, show up and take the L. Be like, yeah, we lost real
You
hard
know
because
what?
X, Y, and Z, right?
It's a couple of things. It's one, not respecting voters because you don't want to give them the information, right? You're trying to spoon feed them what you think they need to hear so that they'll vote for you, which is a load of crap, right? Let's trust the voters with the information and then trust the decisions that they make, but they don't because the election didn't go their way and Trump won again, Kamala lost. So they're not going to trust the voters with any information. They're going to spoon feed them what they want, period. Right? Like, I mean, which is actually crazy to me because I'm an information hound. I just want the data all the time so I can make up my own mind because no one's going to tell me how to think. And I had another great point, but I forgot it.
No, I think the voter respect is really the key thing here, right? How often do we get comments telling us that telling us that there's just, I don't trust either party. They're both kind of the same. It
Sure.
doesn't really matter. Why are you bothering? Right? You can't change anything. And this is part of, like, we started this nonpartisan because everybody took the same oath, right? Everybody swears to uphold and defend the Constitution. And whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or whatever, right, you're swearing that particular oath. And so it was easier and, more egalitarian for us to just be like, well, y'all swore the same oath. Y'all are required to do this, right? And just approach it from that angle. But now I feel every single day, I feel more and more glad that we have stuck with that nonpartisan group because
Sure.
I don't want to give this brand of establishment Democrats any more power. No, no, they should choke on that L and there's failure of leadership. And my question to the people that are like diehard fans of the Democrats, which I think I just read something where they're like 35 points below Republicans in approval ratings, which is mind blowing.
Oh, it's so low right now. Yeah, they're
In
in the
that vacuum
30s.
of power, what is enough for you to take a chance on someone else? What is enough for you to say, like, well, I mean, definitely not Trump's party, right?
Look,
But also not these guys. Let me find someone else.
but don't you think that a lot of this has to the Ken Martin thing, the Congress and where they sit right now and why they won't move, and the voters all comes down in some sense to this cultural need that people have to be right all the time and not be wrong. And if somebody who has voted for, Senator Markey, beloved Senator Markey in Massachusetts, but he's a big progressive, people are always telling me on threads, right? If I bring up that race. So like, no, we love Markey. He's okay,
Why
bro,
though?
that's
Why
fine.
do you
But
love
they don't want
him?
to be wrong, right? They
Is
don't want
that
to be wrong. They cast, I think being right is a big fucking part of it. I'll be honest with you, right? Like
man?
people don't want to take risks because we have become the most fearful generation of humans on planet Earth. Like doesn't even matter that we're like America and made for, pulling up our bootstraps and striving anymore. So people are afraid and they don't want to be wrong. They don't want
Okay,
someone
but
to
wait,
say to
let's
them that you're wrong. I mean, it happened in the whole Kamala election, right? Like those people that didn't vote for her were looked down upon so badly because they didn't
sure.
vote for her because they had their own morals and reasons, and that they let this happen because they couldn't, what is the, you always say, hold your nose and vote for the blah blah
I
blah.
mean, this
Like,
this is something that Ken Martin actually said towards the end of his thing, was like, you voters need to take responsibility for this. And I think I mean, I want to sit with the idea that people are afraid of being wrong. So again, my brain is weird and I can fully admit that, right? But this is something I kind of don't understand. Like, you cannot learn anything if you do not admit you were wrong. Like, this is a whole fundamental premise of science. You set
oh
up a
yeah,
hypothesis and then you try to
yes,
disprove it. The whole point of this is you try and disprove that hypothesis so you can figure out if your reasoning was correct, right?
mm-hmm.
If you don't do
They
that
but they get the emotional attachment part to it,
part,
right? So like you're thinking of it in terms of like data and science and, oh, I was wrong. Markey isn't the guy. He's not going to go as far as we need him to go. So I'm happy to make another choice this election cycle, even though I voted for him 3 times before. Or in my case, my congressman is running for his 15th or 14th term of office. I voted for him for the last 20 years, right? I am happy to be like, bro, you did some good things there for a while, but right now you're wrong. And it is
Yeah,
okay
thank you
for
for your
me to
service.
say I get to make another choice, because what people tend to forget, Kira, is your decision that you're making any given time is in that moment under these circumstances, right?
Yeah.
The decision that I made 2 years ago was totally different circumstances, and 2 years before that. It is okay to change your mind. But the people, I think, have a real strong emotional attachment to this. Like, they think it's going to say something about them or their own morals and values if they change. People don't like to change their mind. You see it all the time. I've decided that I'm for this. I love grilled cheese for lunch every day, and I'm never going to change my mind, because if I change my mind in 2025, what does that say about me? Like, fucking who cares, man?
Okay,
God,
that is
throw a
that is
tomato on there, for
wild.
God's
That is
sakes.
wild to me.
It's true.
I
I know it.
the
I know
all
it's
right,
wild to you.
I think that we can absolutely say, "Thank you so much for your service, sir or ma'am. It is time to move on," right? I mean, part of this, we talked about all the Democrats dying in office recently, right? Like, it's been like 9 in the last 4 years or something that have croaked while they are in actually serving as active representatives. That should not be happening. There has got to be a bench or a pipeline. You have to at some point feel okay of letting go of the power that you have
That's
had. There
all it
has to be
is.
a recognition that, like,
That's all it
this
is.
is no longer the place that I need to be, right? Like, this there's
And if I actually care for the country that I'm supposed to serve, then maybe it's time for me to move on if I'm not comfortable implementing the policies that the country needs, right?
But the other
Like,
side of this for me, right? Why do people like them so much? These people don't seem real cool to me. Like, I have talked to some of them. I have met their staff. I have heard their staff be real rude to their constituents. They don't seem that great. They are people doing a particular kind of job, and they have a lot of power. But why are we worshiping them like celebrities?
oh, we got a whole bit about that.
Oh my God.
Politicians are not celebrities, you guys.
No.
They're your neighbors. They happen to have a job that is responsible for the whole country. There's 535 of them. Kira and I are just two people. Like, they have more power. I'm fine with that. I don't want that power. You could run for office. I could run. I don't want to run for office. Hell no, right? Like, I want to go back to my wood shop and start building furniture again. Like,
Shout
can we
out to
get
the
this
current
done?
candidates for doing that terrible job. Yes. But
Yeah, every single meeting I have with a courage candidate, and they all like get a little shy and weird when I say it, but I look directly in their eyes on camera, of course, and I said, "Thank you for running for office, because I never would." And they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, seriously, man, I mean it.
so
Thank
rough.
you for running for office, because I never would."
But the
But like, we've
celebrity
got people
worship.
in office who don't want to take any risk, and they don't want to be wrong, and all they want to do is retain their power. I mean, as to the question of and we get this a lot. We got John Earls. I don't see anyone doing anything. It'll take more than standing in a street and holding a sign. And John, you're
Let me put that up
absolutely
on the
correct.
yeah, let me put that up on the just so everybody can see it. That
Yeah, and like, let's talk. Let's
and let me
divulge.
just say that we have done a little bit more than standing in the street with the
Yes,
sign. We went ahead and started a PAC, and we have 130 odd candidates that are, you know, running in 37 states for federal office, 25% of the House seats, as many candidates as the Tea Party had at like the end of election season. I don't even know how many, and we've got it in April. So I mean, we're
right.
yeah,
Right.
there
They
are
had that,
people
and those
doing
were
that.
their October numbers,
Yeah,
and my inbox is full of new candidates ready to come on board. So this is a movement, right?
yeah.
What I don't even need someone to acknowledge it. What I do need is someone to help. So acknowledgement would help, right? Media would help, fundraising would help, because these candidates need help. Yard signs don't pay for themselves, guys.
Yeah, this is
I mean,
the central issue. Oops, sorry.
the baloney about I got a comment on Threads today, something about protest. This same type of thought, right? That like, it's going to take more than protests, and the Republicans will never move, and it doesn't matter how much we protest. Oh, my favorite, and your favorite too, Kira, is like, impeachment is stupid because we're never going to get 67 Democrats. And my answer to that is like, guys, we can get out in millions on a Saturday for a No Kings protest. Why don't you take all those people and put them on the steps of the Capitol? Why don't you have direct pressure on your Republican senators?
Yeah.
Because people want to say with crystal ball clarity that this is never going to work. Impeachment is never going to happen. He's never going to be removed without even trying. And I know that you don't live your life that way, and I don't. I'm willing to try.
the trying, right? Again, in case of mistaken identity, folks do tend to assume that, well, if the protest was really big, people are going to care, and no, they won't, because it's going to be over in a day, and they can outweight you, and they know you're not going to do anything else. They know you're not
And
going to
it's
pick
a
up the
fun
phone.
parade.
Yeah,
It's not.
they know you're not going to write a letter. They know they're not going to get any bad press from it. They know they can show up and talk, and you'll be like, oh, what a good guy. They showed up at No
I know
Kings
he
and said
showed
some
up.
words, right?
Yeah.
And so it's misdirection. And the thing, obviously the thing that we do is put people in direct contact with those offices so that they actually do feel some of that pressure coming into their place of work and actually changing things. It's the continual frustration, right, is that all of the capital R resistance groups so far seem to be content with, as John says, standing in a street and holding up a sign. That is
We're
what
not
they
content,
choose to spend
John.
their
We
time.
want all those
Yeah.
people on our mailing list to be calling and emailing and showing up in
Yep.
reps' offices and senators' offices. It is possible. And yeah, I know not everybody has the ability to do that, but they can do one protest a quarter and they can make a sign and it can be fun like a party with their friends. And that's great. If that's what
Yeah.
you can do, that's great. You've built community. Maybe you've linked up with some or other local organizations and you can help with anti-ice stuff, or you can, put more food in the food pantry, or you can, help the library not get shut down by Trump regime baloney. But what we need are people who are willing to say, yes, I will commit 15 minutes a week. 15 minutes a week to either emailing or calling my senator. And maybe I'll commit an hour to drive to their district office and show up in person with some friends.
Which will be
Not
super concerning
not
to
in
them.
costumes, just as a regular individual, right? It's actually
Yeah.
easier. You don't have to make a sign,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to spend 6 hours at a protest, like trying to hear the speaker, but the sound system is so horrible you can't even tell what they're saying. Just 15 minutes from the comfort of your own couch most of the time.
Yeah, and the phone calls. So I just talked with a staffer recently, and I just asked them, like, how many phone calls do they get a day at the DC office? And that was about 50 to 60 phone calls a day. So what that means is that, like, if 5 people called every day about impeachment, that would be 10% of their total call volume. That's not that many people.
No.
That is a easy.
And if we're talking senators, we're talking the whole state.
This is correct.
Right? Instead of we do it on the district level, but like whole state of Connecticut, we've got the whole state of Connecticut. Can we get 10 people a day to call both senators?
I think we can do that.
I don't understand
we
why
just have
that's
to
not
do
possible.
some planning. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that's coming.
There's a question on Instagram here. Do we blame like the apathy on the lack of civil classes for the youth for college? You are the one with the youth living in your house.
What's the question? Where do I see the Instagram comments?
You have to be you got to be logged into Instagram. It's fine. It's the whole thing. I'll just
okay.
But the question is, do we blame this like lack of engagement, this lack of coverage on the lack of civics classes for kids? And I mean, I personally feel really, really grossed out by what I see from the party. So like the disenfranchisement, I guess I get at like a very base personal level, but you're the one with the kids. So maybe you've heard other things.
Yeah. I mean, well, I happen to live in a state where education is a super top priority, right? So my kids have access to really good education. And they've had civic education at school. They've also had the benefit of having me as their parent. So it's really difficult for me to speak to some kid in Kentucky or Texas or, Montana or something like that. But I also think that you can't discount the fact that culturally speaking, the rhetoric that has been allowed to happen based on Trump 1 and now Trump 2, Trump running even the second time, and now Trump 2 in president. I don't know if you saw this graphic the New York Times put together. It was like a little post of all the times that Democrats and Republicans in office have used the F word. They've tracked it. Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
They've tracked it. Okay. And they have like years and times. And overall, Democrats have used it more. the biggest spike was around Charlie Kirk. That's when they used it the most.
The F word?
Mm-hmm. And okay, so it was like, if you dropped into the comments on the Insta, if anyone's interested, go to the New York Times feed on Instagram, you'll find it. There's a little video, and then go to the comments, because the comments are where people are like, fuck off. This is absurd. Why do we all think this has happened? Right? Like, what are we talking about here? But it's that kind of commentary on where we are now that closes the door on why we have that culture anyway, right? When you're saying the culture is bad, and you're not looking at the why we got there, then people just get wrapped up in the whole commentary of it, instead of saying like, oh, we should change the system and actually have people in office with integrity. And I don't give a fuck if anyone uses the F word, obviously, right? That means nothing to me. But they're making an observation on people's ethics, morals, and values just because they're using the F word, when we have a president who's totally okay with paramilitary forces in our streets, right?
And this is extra wild, because I feel like in a lot of cases, like, cursing from the Democrats feels very like, tee-hee, I just said a bad word. Right? Like, it's almost a way to be like, oh, look at how bad these people are, without actually taking any action or doing anything, right?
Ruben Gallego is the biggest user of the F word, by the way.
Wait, who is?
Ruben Gallego. They did it by person. So there's like a bar graph. You got to see it. You got to see it.
So Ruben Gallego is the patty mouth. I will take a look at that, man. It's really fascinating when you look at it in context of like all of Trump's unhinged missives on Truth Social. There was only one with like an F word, and that was when he was threatening genocide, and had like the extra offensive, praise Allah on the
It's
Easter.
kind of childish, actually, right? The president is doing all this crazy stuff, and then the Democrats are responding to that, being like, no, everything's fucking horrible. It's kind of like what my teens would do, right? I would be like, we're going to talk about some really serious issue tonight, kids. And then you'd be like, that's fucking stupid, right?
It is, and I do wonder, like, where, because I remember like being in middle school, and I remember I was raised in kind of a strict household. I remember like using the F word for the first time and being like, oh my God, right? Like, it was like a big transgression when you did it. And there are a lot of like, decorum type rules for Congress. And this, maybe, I mean, everything else is middle school, so why wouldn't this be, right? Like, you are breaking the decorum rule by using a curse word. And it is, and there is zero connection to the actual like responsibility or righteous anger, or, I mean, kind of any sort of like deep emotion with integrity that moves you to necessary and difficult actions that could accompany that word. Because like, you and I say this all the time. We're like, fuck, we got to do X, right? Like, we got to.
Well, that's it. You know how we have this whole like messaging strategy, and the whole goal is to turn outrage into action.
Sure.
Well, the Dems are just stuck in the outrage part, and the Republicans don't have to worry about, they are allowed to stay in the outrage part because they have already given up any decision-making power in the action part of it, right? But the Dems are just stuck in this outrage part. There's no action. There's no plan. The outrage is going to propel us forward to take this on and raise our fists and do this thing. There's none of that. I mean, as far as I can tell, maybe I mean, Sam, our constitutional scholar, did send an article today. I don't know if you saw it, but about the fact that there is a task force to ensure, a Democratic task force to ensure that elections come off safely. Okay, that's great. That is important, right? We obviously know that's important. But my problem is maybe like, I don't have a lot of faith in them. I mean, is that a me problem, or is that a them problem?
Right? One, if you would like to ensure election integrity, you should get rid of the person that is trying to fuck up your elections. So let's impeach, convict, and remove, right? One, easy fix. But two, I think this is a really like necessary point to make. Who gives a shit if you have a commission? What are you going to do? What will happen as a result of this? This is another place where the levers of power are really broken for me to be able to like trace through
Yeah.
what will happen. So prior to the election in 2024, there was another war game. This one was run by, and I am dead serious about all these descriptors. It was run by Peter Thiel's henchman, who is responsible for kind of like meme culture. The A shampoo billionaire named Charles Haywood, who has the Howdy Doody Good Time Foundation for purposes unknown out in like Indiana or
How is
something.
this reality?
Dead serious. And like, you know, like the Heritage Foundation guys and stuff,
Sure.
like a couple of your more usual players. But
Yeah.
they did a war game about what happens if there is a very close call and Trump takes the election, but the Democrats don't let go of power, right? Like what do we do then? And in this war
In what
game,
world would that happen? Okay, go
I
on.
mean, this is their war game, right? But this, I'm using this to
Okay.
illustrate the idea of war games.
All right. All
And
right.
so in their war game, what they like just out in the open, there's like a report you can read about all of this. They went ahead and said, well, you know, we would deputize all of the, you know, sheriff's departments and the Proud Boys, that sort of thing, to like maintain peace. That's the goal. So
Oh
we
yeah.
would
Proud
delegate
Boys and peace
power,
go together in a sentence. Okay.
right, to these organizations, and then, you know, take the election effectively by force is what the outcome of this war game was. Now they didn't have to do that, right? But in my experience, when you do a war game, you are signaling that you are prepared to do a thing and take action in a specific
That
way. And
is
I don't
correct.
actually know
Right.
what action
No,
the
we're
commission
not.
plans on
No.
taking. What is
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to find out more. I don't know. It's like here's what. Okay, it's part and parcel of them going online and saying like, this is what's wrong in your life right now. Prices are up, tariffs are bad, ICE is everywhere, immigrants are being detained, and you're the viewer watching and going, yes, I know, right? That's it. That's where that's where it goes, right? So this whole story was just it was very long too. I was like, how much more do you have to write about this? Like, where are we going? It was basically like 1,500 words to tell me that there's people who are working on this without any real
without what the
clarity.
outcome is? Yeah.
Yeah. So just more of the same, Kira. Are
But
you
these people
shocked?
get
Are
paid
you
so much
surprised?
money. This is another piece
Hey,
of
how
this
much do you
puzzle.
get paid? How much do you get paid?
Me, I get paid just with love and joy of your company. That's my reward for this.
Thumbs ups.
But yeah, the you know, we are trying a couple things in terms of fundraising. I've been thinking more and more about the fact that the current system has people bought into it so hard, just like we were talking about, you know, kind of standing politicians and celebrities, and in some weird cases, the political parties is also, that it seems almost impossible to break those folks free. And it seems
Yeah.
like the only way to do this is to get new people involved, new people that
Yeah.
say, well, I got to do something, right? And start to
Yeah.
cultivate a brand new donor base that's not sort of infected with the idea that you got to be in lockstep with, you know, the party, whether you agree with them or not, right? There's I mean, it is, I do recognize that what I am saying is that we once again have to build something completely from scratch, right? Because I guess the entirety of this institution, these set of institutions, is just
Mhm.
riddled with, you know, rot. But it also feels like the only way to actually construct this movement is going to be to say, hey, folks, we're not going to have anything left in like 20 years if it keeps going this way. So
It's true.
yeah.
It's fucking true,
And as
right?
long
Like,
as you
and I
believe
get
that
that
the
putting
current
your money
power,
towards electoral politics is not a sexy thing, right?
mhm,
There's no sure thing. Like, if you are gonna give, you've got $100 to give, and you want it to go to something worthwhile. Like, yeah, maybe you want to give it to someone, climate activist, or you want to give it to your, you know, your local food pantry, or and I get that, right? Cause-based stuff makes you feel good immediately. It's kind of like when you're in a, you know, you just broke up with your boyfriend or something like that, and you're going to go shopping to make yourself feel good. It makes you feel good for the 2 seconds that you bought that shiny new thing, and then you feel like shit again. That's all I'm saying, right? Like if you want long-term change, we have to start doing long-term thinking. And like America, we have a
It's
real
bad
rough
out there.
time with we are instantaneous, right? Like think about going on Instagram and have you ever looked in our Instagram back end how long someone
Oh my
watches a
gosh.
video? They don't. And if you don't capture someone in 3 seconds, you're done, right? And
Yeah,
so we're asking people to say like invest in this thing, because if we don't
invest.
start to do this right and we don't start right now, oh my God, it's going to be even harder in 2 years and 4 years and 6 years. In 10 years, I think can we get it back?
And I
Can
mean,
we get
this
it back in 10 years? Do I move my family to Europe and tell the boys to get the hell out of this country because it's done? That's sad. I don't think so, but
yeah. And I mean,
we
it's
have an
not
opportunity, really, is what it is. We have a super
sure. Yeah,
opportunity.
it's like a miserable opportunity, and I wish like we didn't have to actually take advantage of it, but here it is, right? And looking for the folks that are actually doing the fighting, right? I feel like we should probably mention that we have found a couple of those. It's very exciting, right? We've got Save
Yes.
America Now movement seems
Save
legit.
America movement.
Yep.
Yep.
The
The American People's Compact.
yep.
Great, great guy over
Also
there.
seem legit. And these
Yep.
like the folks doing this in general, they got a couple like shared traits going for them, right? One, they recognize that the problem is actually a problem, right? And they are not looking to existing authorities to help them. And also they keep moving, they keep shifting their focus because things are moving so fast right now that you can't just have one sort of mission that
No.
you stay on for 3 years. You got to keep adjusting. Save America movement is looking at election security right now because that is a real concern and is a real problem.
Yep.
But they're not making a commission about it. They
Right.
have, they have like, not pamphlet sounds demeaning, but they have like trainings and stuff for people to go
Yeah.
to
And an
ensure election
action plan.
security.
Yeah.
Be a poll worker, an actual effective action that a real
Yep.
human being can take. Most of
Yep.
the poll workers are like 75, right? If you show up as a 30 or 40-year-old, you'll be like the cool young kid that's participating in democracy.
And it feels good, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's not a high priority for you, but like most people do want to feel good about what they're
sure.
doing and where they're spending their time, right? Time's
Yeah,
super valuable. Get off your phone, go be a poll worker. Get off your phone, go volunteer with a candidate. For God's sakes, there are people
yes.
all over our feed that are looking for folks to help them get signatures right now. In Connecticut, it is the hardest state to get on the ballot. It is an impossible thing, which is
What
why
are the
nobody has
what are
ever
the
been
hurdles?
primaried. Hmm?
What are the hurdles for Connecticut? How many signatures?
Well, the signature process is a whole secondary thing. First, you've got to get 15% of the delegates to even get ballot access, and
Mm,
it's incredibly difficult to do because the delegates just continually vote for the incumbents. So it's
mm,
a particularly difficult process. But I don't know if you know about our state campaign fund. This is a super cool thing. So I want to shout out right now for our Connecticut candidates. Josh Elliott, who's running for governor, will qualify for over $3 million in state campaign funding if he
really?
raises $340,000 from Connecticut donors. We have the model for the rest of the country. Did you not know
Wait,
this?
so it's a 10x investment in anybody that can prove a certain level of support?
Yeah, I don't have the figures off the top of my mind for the congressional candidates, but I know for Josh, he has to raise. I think I might have the figure slightly wrong. I believe he needs to raise $340,000, 300 and something $1,000 from Connecticut donors, but nobody can donate more than $340. So you can't
Huh.
just have
One
super
guy.
high donors come in. Right. They have to be
I
small
like that.
donations. Yeah. And then you unlock the $3 million, $3+ million in state funding.
How do we
Is
get
we have
this everywhere? How do we make this
exactly. We have the model for the country. I'll send you a link. There's a whole thing on it.
okay? No, but this
But
is
it's
the type
very,
of like
very
real
cool.
specific legislation that we know
Yeah.
exists out there, right? And we just need to collect it all. Same thing, like right now, there's a lot of conversation about the need for reconstruction, another reconstruction, right? There's the move to amendment for campaign finance. There's the equal rights amendment. There's we could probably think of another couple constitutional amendments. If you guys have them in the audience, just shout them out there. Right. But in addition to that, there's also term limits and expanding the court and expanding the House. And like, there's a lot of structural reforms that need to happen for this democracy. And I think our candidates are the people to show up behind those reforms in full force. Right. So building out this structural package, I mean, I think that's the next step for us, right? Like being able to say, yeah, we are definitely going to go after the individuals that have committed these unconstitutional acts and impeachment, but that's step one. It's not enough.
Yeah, and I think we need to figure out a way to start discussing this more, like every single week, right? Because people see the name Citizens Impeachment, or they see all of our posts about impeachment, and they're like, guys, that's never going to happen, and also it's not nearly enough. We need hangings and all sorts of crap that they talk about, right? Or like, we shouldn't focus on that. We should focus on this. Okay, that's fine, right? We can focus on, but look, impeachment is like this teeny tiny little thing over here, and then we have this massive scope plan.
Yeah, impeachment is the easy one, man. Impeachment is
super easy, but like figuring out how to build affordable housing, hard. Super important, a lot harder, right? Yeah. How can we get women to make the same amount as men? How can we make FMLA? Oh yeah, let's talk about FMLA for a second. Let's talk about FMLA. He's like, I'm such a policy nerd, but like Tom Kean, New Jersey, congressman, disappears since
like a month now, right? Like he hasn't.
No, since March 5th, disappeared. Didn't contact anyone for 45 days. Then it hit the press. So then apparently we found out that he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. But like, can anybody tell me if they are allowed to disappear from their job for 45 days without telling anybody where they're going? No, that is not possible. You cannot do that. You would be fired. Even if you had a reason to be gone for 45 days for some personal health reason, as he's claimed, which we hope you're well, Tom. But I'm just saying, you should understand the hypocrisy in this whole thing. Did you have to file FMLA paperwork? Did you have to get a doctor's note? Did you have to get 5 doctor's notes? Were you paid the same amount? Because, FMLA, they're not paying you the same amount in every state, depending on how much time you take, right? You're going to get a percentage of your salary based on how many weeks that you take off. So I'm just saying, I think, Kira, that they should have the same rules as the average American worker.
I mean,
and maybe they should make $7.25 an hour.
I would prefer to have their rules, quite frankly. Like,
I know, but I think the people got to feel the pain to actually want to make the change, right?
That would be a hell of a platform to run these candidates on. Minimum wage for everybody in Congress. That would make sense.
How fast would they change the minimum wage, right? How fast they would change that. So, speaking of which, we see there's a proposal to up the minimum wage by Mejia and Ramirez, maybe?
Yep, Delia Ramirez, yeah. So that's nice. I'm glad to see some bold policy coming forward. Really, really curious to see if they do any additional work in actually making, politics and getting folks on board for that, or they're just gonna
get a headline
and let it die. Curious about that.
Do we think that's kind of all like the game? The game is like get a headline. I think it's just get a headline. So I think that's what I think you're right. When you said last night, like I think our next mission is just to get headlines with red names in them all over the country.
So there is, I think in Massachusetts, there's a Representative Neal is out there, and one of our candidates is running against him, Jeremy Whalen. And I just like, this is the whole story of Jeremy's, approach to running for office. Neal voted against the first impeachment vote in June of 2025. Jeremy was part of a group of citizens that pushed back against that vote. And Neal ended up changing his vote on the next one. He voted, I believe, present instead of no. So
good job, buddy.
Maybe it was a yes. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter because it was, So, and now, the process of attempting to make this representative understand the importance of, his oath of office and how to uphold it in this moment when the administration is just chucking the Constitution, out the window left and right, brought Jeremy to the race. That is why he is running. That is
Yeah.
why this person is there saying, well, the person in the seat right now is clearly not taking their oath seriously. I need to step in to replace it. One of Neil's constituents came to us and received a letter from the office that basically said, the same lie we get all the time. We can't do anything. The Republicans won't let us. And
oh my God.
And when we pushed back on this and said, hey guys, you shouldn't lie to your constituents, they definitely didn't like that. And while we were investigating, like the second part of the letter where it says, we just don't have the votes and we just can't make this happen, it turns out that this representative has introduced automatic IRA contribution bill for the last 20 years. Wrote the bill in like 2007, maybe, and has introduced it at various intervals for the entire time he has been in Congress. And it has never even made it out of committee. So this is a person who like routinely introduces the exact same bill over and over and over again with zero outcome. And yet they insist that they simply can't do anything about this one very clear and obvious course of action because they don't have the votes. And it's just the clearest expression of hypocrisy about what you use your power for and what type of performance you want to give with that power, right? So, one of the things that Rep. Ramirez has done is she's created a bill that restricts arms sales to Israel, right? And she has claimed, or her office has claimed, that there are 200 plus candidates signed on to this bill, candidates and existing representatives. As far as I know, that bill is also still in committee, and that bill has not yet made it out. And this is really very much like the entire game, just writing the legislation and sending it someplace so it can die. Because then you can tell the people that want that legislation, hey, I submitted it, right? I did my part, right? But that's like, it's simply not enough. There has to be.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like sitting over here trying to just hold it together as you're saying all this. And all I got to say is like, it's not enough.
No, there's got to be a higher standard.
To do a good thing and like get the like check mark, good job, you did it, way to go, girl. Like that's not, I'm sorry, your position is far too powerful for me to be like a good on ya, good job. Like you're on the moral high ground. Like no, like get your hands dirty, right? Get your hands dirty, right? Like I always use the analogy with candidates that like if I'm gonna clean the garage and it's spring cleaning, I'm taking every fucking thing out of the garage. I'm not cleaning around everything, right?
Yep.
Like they need to get in there and get their hands dirty and take everything out or put all the pieces together and see where they align, which means talking to Republicans. And and again, like it's just like the people on social media, the commenting saying like the Republicans, I mean, just before we got on, I got some dumbass comment about the Republicans don't care how much protesting you do. Like, I don't know, guy, have you tried? Has anybody tried? Because I don't think anybody's tried. Everybody, including the voters, everybody has ceded all of their power because they assume that these people will never. And maybe that's true, but I am like, let's find out. Give me the data. How much have you tried? I don't know. Have you? It's
I think
enough to make you go crazy. We're a little crazy.
The viability question is a poison. I mean, I got asked that the other day, right, by a reporter that wanted to know how viable our candidates were. And like the simple answer is like nothing's viable unless you actually get on the playing field, man. Like you can't actually know the answer to that question until you try and fight. And the truth is we don't know. We're coming into a season where we're going to have about 60, 70 candidates over the next 4 weeks face down their primaries. We'll get some more information then. But at this point in time, we have about 10 people headed to the general on the ballot. 2 of them won their primary outright. I think 4 of them are now operating. 4 or 5 of them are now operating without a primary challenger. And, sometimes that's because they're an independent. Sometimes that's because the challenger dropped out. And then there are another 2 in Texas that are facing a runoff. This is not an impossible problem. Like I said, we only need one. We only need one person to get into office to say, well, it's time to impeach now. and that will be the thing that happens, because that is the thing
Right,
that
and
is
that's great, and that's our primary goal, sure, but in some ways, maybe that's not our primary goal, that's our primary action, right? That's
Mhm.
our but, like, the big goal really is to change out, right? Put the subs in,
True.
if you will, right? Change out, put the people on the bench in, they are ready to go, right? They're rested, they're ready, they don't have a concussion, no one's
No,
beat them up, no skin knees
correct.
yet, right? Like, put them in, they're ready to go. And
Yep.
I mean, I was looking at the numbers last night, and we've got, let me just give you the rundown, Kira. We have 51 Democrats. 51, these are just seats, not even number, because we do have multiples. We've got 51 seats for Dem ranked seats, 48 Republican ranked seats. 22 of those are open. 22 of those
Gotcha.
are open seats. So there's a very strong likelihood that we get some more candidates in there, and that's the goal, is to get as many as we can in there so that we can actually dig into the policy matrix and say, all right, you guys did impeachment, where do you want to go next? What bill do you want to work on next? Do you want to help with this voting rights nonsense? Do we
How
need to
many
tackle health
constitutional
care? Do
amendments
we
do you
gotta
wanna get
we
in? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Our scope continues to creep, but I can't say I'm mad about it. It does feel like the right thing to do.
No, it's bigger and bigger and bigger. We need to clone ourselves or something.
Yeah, open call to anybody that wants to work with us, citizensimpeachment.com. Come find us. Courage for
Yeah.
Democracy also has a volunteer site. We welcome your help. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I think that is the yap for today.
Yep,
Do
yep.
you have a closing thought, Sarah, to tie it all up in a bow?
Go get them, Tiger. That's
Yeah,
it.
or just show up on that playing field, take some folks
Yeah.
out. They're not ready for the fight. So, yeah, we will talk to y'all later.
Later, Gator.